Welcome to our tips and talk today. My name is Jared Weaver. I'm a volunteer here at the Oakland FamilySearch Center, and I have a degree in family history from Brigham Young University, Idaho. And I try to do things like this class, make the family history stuff not so mysterious. So today we're going to talk about citing sources. These are just some of the things that you put in Family Search or Ancestry or Find My Past, whichever one you use, that are facts that somebody had in their life. And when you have these, you need to have the citation for where you found it. We have a lot of ones that don't do this well. We'll see a little bit of that as we get further on here. But good family history research is not just the names and dates. It's also knowing what they did, how they live, who they lived by, what's the history of the area they were in. So why do we do these sources? Well, the citation lets you go back to the original source and lets others go and see what you saw. And then they can decide what if you did it right, if your interpretation is right. It really helps you when you need to go back to that source. And that's a when, not an if. So you can go back and find the things. One of the things in genealogical research, most of the time, the fun ones, the easy ones are when, okay, it's one thing that tells me what I want to know. And you can go and find that one thing, you're done. But most of the stuff that you do here, and in the next class I teach, which will be in the fall, it's indirect proofs, which means you're taking a piece from here and a piece from here and a piece from here, and you're putting them all together. You need the sources for all of those so that people can follow your trail and see if they agree with your conclusion. Just like in academic research, the source citations acknowledge the works of others that have done. So you, especially if you're citing sources like books and whatnot, you don't want to be plagiarist. So the sources help us do that. Also want to demonstrate that we are thorough scholars here. It's called family history research because you are researching stuff and researchers have to do it right. Also your citations, which you will use in your research logs, and we'll talk about those in the fall too, they give you a roadmap for your future research. And we're like, well, I found this here. That's what I'm doing today. But then you have a note saying, hey, I want to go back there later and see if there's anything else. That's where it helps there too. And they often have the details that tell things about people's lives. I have one in my family. They lived in Nottinghamshire, England, and they were dirt poor people. But they have a kid that was born in Scotland. And I thought that was kind of weird because these people were dirt poor. Well, I went and verified that. And yes, they did have that kid in Scotland. It does, it's the sources saying everything right. That is their kid. But it also says he's in Scotland because he's in the military. I never knew that. So now I have extra lines of work. What was his military work? What was he doing? Elizabeth Shaw Mills says up there, they identify it for a particular assertion. And you can also put in, besides, where you found it, what it means in your citations. You can do whatever you want on this stuff. And this is one thing I find, if I have a source that I know is wrong, I'll put it in and then say it is wrong and why it is wrong so that the next person coming up doesn't find that same wrong source, think it's right, and then change everything I did. So that's a good thing to do. Now, remember high school research papers, and you had only one acceptable citation source, and if you didn't do it right, you were going to be the fry cook at the Burger King for the rest of your life. It got you through high school, but it's not true. There is no one acceptable source for citations. There's all of these. And it depends on what type of document you're doing as to what standard you can use. Now, most of these are for really accessible stuff. Yes. Okay, so now these sites have, remember I said there's no one standard? These guys have made their own standard. And since there is no standard, they made their own. Everybody's got their own. Everybody does. All of these sites use their system differently, and they're not common between any of them. So I'm going to give you now the way I stay sane when I'm moving stuff back and forth between these sites.
Hey, Jared, I have to express a little bit of surprise. I would have thought Ancestry and Family Search would.
Oh, they
Really? Okay.
It is worse than men are from Mars and women are from Venus. It's more like men are from Mars and women are from the Andromeda Galaxy. Okay, now, if you found a source in Family Search, and you are going to attach it to your tree in Family Search. Very easy to do. You hit that button there, attached to Family Tree, follow the prompts. It will put that source into your tree with their citation system. You don't have to change anything. Use their style. Life is good. Be happy. If you have a source you found in Ancestry and you're putting it in your tree in Ancestry, they do it the same way. They say attach it, follow their prompts. Life is good. Don't worry about what system they're using. It's their system. They're happy. The problems come when you're trying to move something you found in Ancestry to Family Search. It requires the use of a third-party program. And the third-party program is called RecordSeek, yes. And for moving stuff from Ancestry to Family Search, it is a wonder. It works great. And it's not just Ancestry, it's anything that Ancestry owns, like newspapers.com. Works great. It is an app in the Chrome browser. It only works in Chrome. So if you're in Firefox, you're going to have to work in Chrome and add it as an app.
Okay.
Yeah. It will not work in Bing. It will not work in Firefox. It will not work in DuckDuckGo.
Okay.
Now, here's the problem. It's supposed to allow you to go from Family Search to Ancestry, but when you try, you get this error message.
The last 3 years.
It's been at least that long, yes. So, I mean, they say they are working very hard to solve this, but it's not very solvable, I guess. And now, if you can't add it because of a problem with Chrome, we're going to have to work on that. Now, and if that's the case, then this no longer is a good thing.
It's, but it still works here.
If it works there, you're fine.
Yeah, on any existing computer.
Yeah, yeah. But don't take it off, or it's going to be trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a cautionary note too on this, because sometimes people will just go into this and use it as their primary citation for a document. And what happens is a lot of these sites, like scotlandspeople.gov.uk, changes the URLs for all
Yeah,
their
we're gonna go into that.
Okay, great.
All right. Now, you found something not on Ancestry. We want to put it in Family Search. You got to make your own citations. And this is, by the way, 80% of what's out there. Actually, we say it's 80%, it's closer to 95%.
Just homemade.
Well, no, the problem is this. When they first started digitizing records, they said, okay, we've been doing this for a little while, so we've got these many done up. We know that there's this many to do. So we've got 10% done and we're going to work on the 90%. They've been doing this for decades now. And now you say, okay, how far have you gotten? They say, well, we have, by heroic efforts, got a lot more stuff up here. The problem is, every time we get something up here, we find 5 more things down here we didn't even know were there. So back then we said we got 10% done, but because the bottom is so big, and after all of our work, we're only 5%. So the rest of it is, this is what we call in Family Search, dumpster diving. If you have records in some countries, this, believe it or not, is their version of the National Archives. And it's not the worst one. The worst one I saw was a 2-car garage. So you got to make your own citations here. So let's see how you can come up, if you want to come up with your own style, how you can do it. First of all, Rudyard Kipling says it to us. He has 6 honest serving men. What, why, when, how, where, and who.
That's great.
Yes. For a source citation, we only use 4 of them. Source citations don't worry about why and how. So you can make your own source citations, but you do it here. For who? Who created it? Who's the author? Who's the editor? Who's the compiler? That's important to know. And if you're working with photographs, like we have people out here digitizing photos today, who currently owns the original? That's important to know. And if it's somebody who's still living, because of Privacy Act, you just have to redact their address. If they're dead, I don't know why you put an address in anyway. But if you ever sent a letter to them and they get a reply, I would save the stamp. Okay, what's the title? What's the format? This is especially good for AV stuff. Records, pictures, cassettes, slides, all of that stuff. What's the format? And if it's a book or anything, where was it published? Where was it made? Where you saw it, what repository holds it? Like if you're using one of the books out here in the library, okay, I found it. It was published in New York, but I saw it in the Oakland FamilySearch Center. That lets people know, okay, there is a copy in Oakland. I got to go to Oakland to see it.
And the date.
Hmm?
And the date.
What were the dates there too? Yeah. That's part of the when. And where in it is this? And this is a bone I have to pick with Family Searches citations. A lot of times, especially working like I do in Danish, they will say, hey, it's in this film. Okay, can I see it? You have to browse the whole film. They haven't indexed it that well in Danish, and I have a bone to pick with them.
It's pervasive.
It is, yeah. I know it's in Denmark.
I still do it.
Yeah. I've seen some where, yeah, they'll take you right to the page. That's great. And I've seen some where they say, have a nice day.
Here's a little bit of pages.
Yeah,
Go fishing.
or 1,000. I've been there too. And now, when was it created? And if you're looking at a website, when you saw it, these sites change and things move, and suddenly the hyperlink doesn't work anymore. It is known in the trade as link rot. So you need people to understand when you saw it, when it was there. On some of these things, there is a site that tries to keep track of all of the old pages. And the people who made it are fans of the Rocky and Bullwinkle show. That's what it's called. That is the name of the show, of the program. The Wayback Machine.
Oh.
And that helps a lot. So here we are with the link rot. Now, Family Search uses something called archival research keys, ARKs. They are supposed to help you with the link rot. In other words, if they have to make a change, that's supposed to go to the new site. I haven't seen whether it does or not, but it's supposed to. I have not, Ancestry doesn't use them as far as I can tell, but Family Search, it says that they do. So one thing you can do is just put the root part of the site in your citation, as long as you have enough other information that somebody can get to it from that root.
So you still need to act like it's a card catalog entry
Correct.
for sanity's sake.
Mm-hmm.
How does that archival research key work?
I have no idea. It is supposed to be something that libraries like Library of Congress is supposed to use. I don't know if they do. But it's supposed to keep you going where you want, where they go. And if the thing is moved over here, it's supposed to move it over there when you punch the key. So this is I'm going on my soapbox now, because Family Search does this differently than I want to see it done. If it's a website that they're doing, or you're doing, you tell them it's a website, you put the web page in here, and you cannot put a screenshot in.
Yes, you can.
You can't.
Not if you say it's a web page.
Out of the screen.
No. So what I do, instead of saying it's a web page, I say it's a memory. I put the screenshot in my gallery, hook it to it, and I put the citation down here rather than up there. That's how I do it, because then if that web page goes away, I have a picture of it. So on this one, this gravestone, there's the picture. Now, Family Search does not obviously think that's a good idea. They want you to use this side because that's why they put it in. But the missionaries up in Salt Lake do it that way.
Seems like you should still put the URL in there.
I do.
In the-
URL is in there.
In the notes or something? On
the citation.
No, on the second page.
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, it's
Oh.
incomplete.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because I chose to just do that.
okay, got it.
I could have put the whole thing in, but I chose to just do that because I have enough information, and that number there is down here,
Yeah,
Oh,
so I can get to it. Okay, so now I say, if you decide you don't want to make your own system, you still can use one of these systems. And if you're going to, I recommend you use Evidence Explained by Elizabeth Schoen Mills. It's based on the Chicago style, but it has a whole bunch of extra stuff in here that is unique to genealogical sources. And if you buy the book, it's the LA phone book.
Over 900 pages.
Yes. And she just revised it.
And yes, she did, but it was still.
Well, I'm lazy. I bought an electronic copy.
Okay.
But you find what, and she does it a little bit funky, but once you get used to her system, you can use it. You can, and there are programs out here that will create your source citations for you using whatever system you want them to. Well, mostly these three on the left use the Chicago style. These two on the right use Evidence Explained. The bad news is they're all behind a paywall. But I like this one the best. Sitebuilder.com. I like it the best because one, it costs the least. Now, the reason I like it is that being a professional genealogist, I also do reports, and it will build the source citation, the abbreviated source citation, and the bibliographical entry for you. Yeah. The others won't do that
Is that a one-time cost for that?
per year.
Oh,
I think it's $11. Depends on the exchange rate with the Australian dollar. I saw this demonstrated at Rootstock, and it impressed me.
That's saying something.
Yeah, to impress me, that says something. Okay, now, once you make a citation or you see somebody else's citation, you analyze them. How easy is it to get back to the original source with this citation? And then once you're back in the original source, that's where you can analyze the source itself. How good is that source? Is it actually on the right person? You can't believe how many I've found on the wrong person. And the biggest one is, do you believe it? This is the sniff test. I call it the sniff test. Is it something that's good? Is it believable? Or as W.C. Fields said, something is odiferous in Scandinavia. So, how good is that source?
No.
And they're out there. Don't use that as a source.
Yes.
There's a source that Esther absolutely hates.
Which one? There are many.
Aunt Fanny.
Every family has an Aunt Fanny.
Every family has an Aunt Fanny who has been the keeper of the family legends, which is what they are.
The fairy tales,
Mhm.
and she knows everything, and don't ever tell her that she's wrong because she knows everything. And
The Aunt Fanny in Benoni Patton's family, I have been in contact with, and she is adamant that he is the child of Abigail Makepeace for two reasons. One is Abigail is a Mayflower descendant, which would make all of us Mayflower descendants. Two is if he's a child of John Patton and Abigail Makepeace, he's legitimate. He wasn't. And there's a lot of people who get upset that there's an ancestor in the background who came into life, what the English call on the wrong side of the blanket. And it's especially important with Benoni because one of Benoni's sons was David W. Patton, the first martyr to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He was an apostle. So this is where Aunt Fanny's a problem, GEDCOM files are a problem, personal knowledge. Whose personal knowledge? Now, I was helping a lady here today, a couple of weeks ago, and we wanted to, she was trying to get her family up, and she put in that her mom's birthday was this. And I said, well, how do you know that that's your mom's birthday? And she says, well, it's Mom. I know Mom. Okay. Well, right now, that is a source. I mean, it is a source. GEDCOM file is a source. It's a lousy source, but it's a source. So I told her put personal knowledge of the contributor so that when people go into the history, they can find her and look at it that way. So, but then you have to go and find an actual document if you can. Yeah.
Yeah, so in a way, if that's the best that that person that you're helping has, and they put in personal knowledge, a contributor, at least anybody subsequently will know that, okay, well, that's an opportunity, I guess, and I think that's what you're suggesting. It's an opportunity for anybody following up to go in and dig deeper and see if they can find it.
For the person to dig deeper. Because the name of the contributor is in Family Search. It says she put this in, and you can email her or text her or whatever. Family Search allows that. Okay. So, best practices. Don't wait to the end of your research to start adding the citations. Do them as you find them. Stop. Okay, I found this. Stop, cite it. Stop, cite it. Get all the relevant details, because you never know what information might be important later. And on the Family Search stuff where it says browse the whole film, I browse the whole film. And I find the image number, and in the notes section, it's no place you can do this on those citations, I put the image number, the film number, the image number, and the total number of images.
And the record.
Well,
I actually say, depending on the document, I have been putting where the record is, because especially when it's old handwriting, it's like the fourth one down on the left.
yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah. If it's in a line thing and they got line numbers, that works. Like the fourth thing on the left, newspapers, you want the page, the newspaper, the date it was published, the page number and the section, and then the column number. Yeah. So yeah, keep it accurate, do all that kind of stuff. And you choose a citation style and stick with it, whichever one you want, so that your citations, you get in the habit of having a system. If you use Evidence Explained or Site Builder, that's fine. If you make your own, just make sure you use it all the time. In the Family Search, you can link a source to multiple facts. I think Ancestry will do the same thing. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you can link it to the actual facts. You say, well, I found this source, and well, what does it tell you about the person? Well, I got his name, I got his birthday, I've got his christening date, I got his parents, that kind of stuff. And when you're importing a citation from online database, make sure that that meets your standards. If it doesn't, fix it.
Right then and there.
Right then and there, because you will forget to do it. And when you finally get back to it, you'll forget what was wrong.
They're garbage.
A lot of them are. But there's two types of researchers. There are conduits and there are filters. The conduits, whatever's there, comes over. The filter takes it and keeps the good and throws out the bad. Be a filter. Don't be a conduit. Because you are a researcher. You are a professional researcher. You may not be getting money for it, but you are a professional researcher because you are researching to professional standards. The source citations you have are foundations of your genealogical research. You diligently cite source, you ensure the accuracy of our family histories, the work of others, and you leave a legacy for future generations. So embrace the power of source citations and make them an integral part of your genealogical journey. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, most of this presentation is my own work, but part of it I did with AI.
If it's right, it's right.
It's a new way to do things. And if you use it for what it's good for, you don't take it as gospel, but you use it for what it's good for, it helps. Okay, any other questions?
I have a question online. Can you repeat why you will enter a incorrect source and how you modify it? The patron was watching the screen and didn't quite catch what you're.
Okay. The question was why, if I have, you want to repeat what I said earlier, if I find a source that I know is wrong, I will put it in as a source, and then as part of the source, I will say this source is inaccurate and this is why it's inaccurate, so that somebody else coming along finds that source, says, oh, he didn't see this source and this says this. Oh, no, I've got it here and it's not the right information. It is wrong. I have an ancestor like this. It's people, there are sources out there that say his name's Benoni Patton and he's the son of John Patton and Abigail Makepeace. He's really the son of Margaret Holmes with a one-night stand from a different John Patton. So I've got those sources that say this is it, with the wrong information, so that they know I have seen those sources and that I have discounted them and why.
Do you have any handout that has some of these sources?
No, I didn't have time to do handouts. I'm in the middle of putting a whole house battery in.
And I will generate a handout in about 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
You could do it here, Jared, and print it out.
Yeah, I got my computer here. I could do it.
Because I would really like to go to some of those sites.
Yeah, I'll just say, hey,
Well, I can't.
take this presentation and make a handout, a one-page handout. And they'll say, just a sec, here it is. I like the AI program I like to use is Gemini. It's from Google because it's free. Now, they do have some added things behind their paywall, but I don't need to use that, so I'm happy.
Nothing is free. They use your data to help tune their.
Oh, yes. But you can tell them not to.
You have to navigate.
Mhm. Yes, Esther.
I don't know why. I have an ancestor named Frederick Warren.
Mm-hmm.
I know what year he was born and where he was born. He was born in Pennsylvania. But someone in their inimitable wisdom has connected him to an Isaac Warren from New Jersey, who was born and died in New Jersey. And Frederick's from Pennsylvania. And there is no source under Isaac Warren that lists his children, lists why he would have been in Pennsylvania, or anything like that, and yet he's attached.
Shoot him.
I keep unlinking it, and they keep putting it back.
Are you unlinking it with explanation
Yes,
in the notes thing?
yeah, that this is not, there is no proof that Frederick Warren is this
Okay.
man's son.
This is not part of this class, but when you get a thing like that where people are just absolutely positively putting stuff in that's wrong and you keep taking it out and telling them why, and they keep putting it back in. If they don't keep putting it back in, then they're good researchers. Well, okay, I was wrong. If they keep putting it back in like that, you can call Family Search Library in Salt Lake. You can tell them the story and they can,
Prevent somebody from.
yeah, they
doing
can lock the record.
Not the record itself.
They lock the record itself.
You can't update it either.
That's right. So you better make sure you got it right.
that. Same problem with Josiah Durham.
Yeah. I have that problem with my LDS Pioneer ancestry. They're all read only. Because there's been so many people trying to put stuff. So they've got them as accurate as they think they can get them, and they put it read only. Now, when I find something that I think really should be put in there, I email it to the support line in Salt Lake. They'll look at it, and if they agree with it, they can put it in through the lot, but not, I can't.
Well, at the least, you could go into the record itself and edit it and put your note.
She says she's done that.
Oh, trust me, she
And they change they go back and.
and they go back and say, I don't care what that says. It's like we had in flying when we were investigating a pilot deviation. I literally had the pilot, I brought him in and I played the ATC tape for him. And literally he said, I don't care what the tape says. I didn't say that.
Fake news.
I mean, these kind of people, but do the best you can. But yes, you can have the record locked.
Hey, Jared?
Yeah.
I've been having trouble trying to load that on as a new extension in Chrome
Mm-hmm.
on my computer, and they're saying that it's no longer
Yeah, I got that too.
within Chrome standards, and yet we can do it here. Because, we have record seek already loaded.
I will have to look at that. I have not seen that. It's because if you already have it, it's going to keep it.
I guess.
I guess.
That's what I'm understanding.
I will research that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I got a new computer and needed to, and it's not letting me.
Yeah.
It says that somehow it's not meeting, whatever the Chrome standards for an extension is.
Yeah, they made changes to it then. Okay.
Hey, Jared?
Yeah.
Question, going back a little bit, I missed this question here earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So as the patron asks or request a real birth or death document,
Mm-hmm.
she asks, can I scan and attach the image as a source like that?
Okay, so you have an original document and you want to attach it in the source. Yes, you attach it as you scan it, put it in, if you're in Family Search, you put it in your gallery and you attach it as a memory source.
There's a whole lot that goes on behind the scenes on stuff like that, though.
Mm-hmm.
It will read through and see if it is a problem with HIPAA standards. If it's like a death certificate and it won't load. It won't load whether you're alive or dead. If it's that much detail. Because I even tried to load my own birth certificate into my own number
Mm-hmm.
and it rejected it.
Okay.
So there's something else going on in the background.
Yeah, they do a lot of work on that because like you say, there's HIPAA standards and Privacy Act standards, all kinds of stuff. And don't second guess them. Put it in. If it throws it out, okay. but at least you put it in. If it did throw it out, you got it in. But yeah, that's true. I can't get my brother's death certificate or birth certificate. Death certificate I got. I can't get his birth certificate because he was born in New York. And the law there says the person can get it or the parents can get it. The children can get it if they get a court order. I can't get it because I'm a brother.
Did he have kids that you can strong arm?
Yes, yeah, and he's doing a lot of genealogy, but he's got to take a vacation from his job in Tooele, Utah, and go to Long Island and get a judge to give him the reason, and he has to tell the judge why he wants it. And if he says for genealogical research, depending on the judge, they may turn a jaundice eye. Yeah, New York is the black hole of Calcutta.
So what you're saying is when you were showing that option for a source, and you could either do the website or the memory.
Yeah.
And so what
I do the
to answer
memory.
the question, you'd be selecting memory, and then you're able to attach the.
Well, yeah, and what you're attaching is a screenshot.
Yeah.
So you're doing a screenshot, and the thing is that the main source may say you cannot photocopy this. You can screenshot anything, but you want to give some due diligence to what the owner of the document wants. This is why a lot of times you cannot be at home and see a document. You have to be here, or you have to be in Salt Lake, because those are the permissions that the person who owns or entity who owns the actual document have given to FamilySearch.
You might ask them, see if that's answered the question.
Well, did it, our person that, yeah, did it answer your question, Marissa?
I guess then my question is, if the person is dead, who is the owner of, say, their birth or death certificate? Is it the state? Is it their collective children? As you're pointing out, the parents or the descendants can potentially obtain it in New York. Is New York State the owner of the document? If I receive the, clearly you can tell I'm trying to get physical documents based on family lore of the parent's birthday and birthplace, and it's not as accurate. I'm like, it's literally your parents' birthday. How do you not know this? But who owns that document as I'm receiving them?
The owner is generally the entity that made it.
Ah.
Or the entity that is the successor. For instance, if you are looking for a document that was made by the federal government, like my dad's military records, he was a 30-year man, and the records were made by the U.S. Army. But when he left the military, the Army took the records and gave them to the National Archives. It's still part of the federal government, but it's a different branch. So yeah, you got to go find who owns the darn thing.
And one other question, if you could explain what GEDCOM is?
Okay, GEDCOM. GEDCOM is a genealogical data communications file. It is how we used to move stuff back and forth in the day. If I had stuff on what was called PAF, P-A-F, that was not hooked to the internet anyway. So if I wanted to send some of it to Esta, because we have common ancestry, we're 6 cousins, which probably explains a lot about us, but
I thought it was 10.
that's on another line. But I would have to take that information from my PAF file and hand it to her, but I had to do it export it into what's called a GEDCOM file, which the church actually made these. This was something the church invented. And it would come up with a text file. And then I would hand that floppy disk to her. This is how old this is. And she would put it in her computer and say, import from this GEDCOM, and it would read it and import it into her path. That's what it is. It's a very, very old system.
Archaic.
Yeah. I surprisingly, I still see it being used sometimes. But that's what it is. It's a genealogical transfer file. Okay, anything else? All right.